Hey everyone, welcome to Gardening with the Landscape Connection. I am Michelle, your host. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are in Northern Illinois, Zone 5, and if you love our videos, please subscribe, share, comment, and like, because we love to hear from you. So it's snowing outside. They're saying today that we are gonna get like a lot of snow. Ooh, that means I'm gonna have to go out and plow. Yeah, I have to plow. We plow commercial parking lots. So when I first started plowing, I used to love doing it. Now it's like my whole body falls out of the truck when I'm done and I can barely walk. But we have to do what we have to do. But before we go and do that, I thought we would do a winter craft because, you know, it's January and there's only so many seeds that you can plant in January. And I'm jonesing again for some spring, and it's time to change my wreath out on the door. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually make this wreath. I'm gonna show you how to make it with a base that you can switch out and turn it kind of into other things as well. So we're gonna start with the main base, and then we're gonna add pieces to it that will allow us to change it from Valentine's, and then from Valentine's to just a spring wreath, and then from a spring wreath to an Easter wreath. And that way you can use the same one over and over and over again and create that. Because we're gonna use a glue gun, but we're also going to be using paddle wire. And so the things that we put on here will be easily able to take off and then just embellish it with different things. Now I'm not gonna actually glue every single theme on here. I'm actually gonna turn this into a spring wreath, but I'm gonna show you like what I would do after I have that base primer done to turn it into a Valentine's wreath, and then also what I would use to turn it into an Easter wreath. So I'm gonna pop up so that the wreath is a little bit closer for you guys to see as we're doing the putting everything on it, all the embellishments and everything. So you won't be able to see my face, but that'll be okay. You'll still be able to hear me. So with that, I'm gonna stand up, and that way the wreath is closer for you to see. Okay, here we go. Okay, so with that, this is a wreath that we're gonna use. This is a grapevine wreath, and this one is an 18-inch wreath. So see, 18 inches. I think that the 18 inch is the perfect size to put on your door. Now you could hang this certainly in your house somewhere as well. Now, because we are going to be using moss and artificials to make this, I recommend that you don't expose this outside to a whole bunch of weather. So it can be on your door as long as it's protected, and it can be like in between the door and the screen, or if you have an overhead, that's probably totally fine. But if it's gonna be exposed in snow and everything like that's gonna get on there, it probably isn't gonna last as long. And we wanna make sure that we can get as many uses out of it as we can. And the reason I like grapevine wreaths is because you can rip everything off of a grapevine wreath at some point and then repurpose certain things or freshen it up or change it into something else. So what we're gonna be using is, I do have some preserved moss. This is from Super Moss, and I got this just preserved, nice, pretty green moss. I also brought up a package of Spanish moss, and I got it in the dyed color, and this is that nice chartreuse green, so we're gonna be using that. I also went outside this morning and I cut some pliable curly willow off of my curly willow outside, so I am going to be using this. And if you don't have this, that's okay. You can certainly make it without. I just wanted to add a little textural difference to it. Then I went and I just picked out some different greens that I like. Now these are more of a plastic than they are a silk, because my wreath is gonna go outside and I want it to be able to stand up to the elements. So I got a couple different ferny looking ones. I have another one here that's got some white tips on it. I also pulled some that have some yellow tips on it because I wanna have those spring colors in here. And then I have another one here that's got more of a rounded leaf, so I have a different textural element in here. And I thought there was another one. I don't know where it went. Okay, so that's everything that I have that I'm going to be using in this to create my primer base. So the first thing that I'm going to do, and other things that you're gonna need. I do have some paddle wire here, okay? I have my trusty glue gun. And then I have a pair of wire cutters. Those are right here. I do have a pair of scissors in case I need those. And then I've got the different elements over here to change it into one wreath or another. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually gonna take some of this moss and I wanna glue it onto my wreath. Now I am not gonna cover this whole wreath. I want this to kinda maybe be this much of the wreath, and I'm gonna have it kind of spiral out like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take my glue stick and I'm just gonna actually get some of the glue on here, kind of like this. I'm just gonna get that on there, and then I'm gonna add some moss to it. And I'm just gonna go maybe a quarter of the way this way And then I'm gonna go this way as well. And with my glue gun, I always have to push one glue stick into another to get it to go. But I love the green color of this moss. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm gonna add that on here. And when I do this, I'm not only just gonna tuck it on the top right here, I actually wanna put some right in here too. So I am gonna stand this wreath up just a little bit, and I'm gonna add some glue right along the bottom here so I can tuck some of this in there as well. And if I end up with little string runners that you get when you use your glue gun, that's okay, because I can just go ahead and pull those off later. Okay, so I'm gonna put that right there, see, and then I'm gonna kind of take it up like this and kind of shake it, because it is a looser moss, and get rid of all of that stuff that could fall off. And then I'm just gonna brush this out of my way. Okay, so now I've got that there, and I know that this is gonna be my top right here, and so I am going to be using a bow on this, and I haven't decided where that's gonna go, but I do know that I probably wanna put a little bit of moss down here as well, so that I have a little bit of balance when I hang this up, and I don't just have the bare branches showing. So I am gonna add a little bit of moss down here at the bottom. Let me back that up a little bit. All right, there we go. And I'm gonna need to add another glue stick here. So I've already gone through one glue stick, okay? And again, I'm just gonna take my moss, and you could use sheet moss too, but I like the fluffiness of the loose moss and the way it looks. And it looks like it's more 3D than if I were to use sheet moss. It's a little flatter, and so I like the look of this moss better. And so I just want to have a little bit right down here. And again, I might use my scissors to kind of push some stuff in place if I need to, so that I'm not burning my fingers, because glue is hot. Okay, let me get that off of my, okay, that didn't work very good, did it? It's just sticking to all my stuff. Okay, so get in there. It's not real hot yet. It would be. Okay, and then again, I'm gonna turn it up and kind of get that loose stuff off of there. Okay, and then I'm just gonna push this all out of my way. Okay, so there we go. I kind of got that in two different places. And I kind of have in my mind kind of what I want this to look like, but I'm not 100% sure how it's gonna turn out. So we're just gonna kind of keep going. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my curly willow here, and I am going to break down a little bit of this. And what I wanna do, I'm gonna take this thicker stem here. I am gonna take this piece here, and I'm just gonna kind of insert it into, yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it around. So I took one end and I kind of just inserted the stick in there, and then I'm just gonna take this and kind of wrap it around like this until I get to the end here, okay? And then again here, I've got some longer ones, and I'm just gonna wrap that around, and then I can just tuck those down into the other branches. Okay, so I'm just gonna tuck that right down in there. And so this just gave me a little bit more movement, I guess, or textural element on here. Okay, and then this one I'm just going to maybe cut this little piece off right there. Okay, so there I've got some curly willow in there, and I like that. And I've got one little piece left here that I think I'm actually going to go this way with it. So I'm gonna tuck it in there, and then I kind of want it to come on top of this. So I'm going to kind of lay it here and kind of glue it in place. If that'll work, we'll see if that works. Might have to hold it for a second to get that to stay. And then I'm gonna tuck it up into the branches again and just weave that in there. Okay, yep, there we go. So I like that. So there we go, we've got that in there. And so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually take my greens, and this is what my primer is, okay? So this is gonna be the base of every wreath that I make. So the next thing I wanna put on are my greens. And so some greens, you might wanna use the whole thing as is, and you might want to cut it down. So this one, I actually think I wanna use it as is, but I wanna cut that branch down so that it's smaller. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my wire cutters here, and most of the time when you go buy silks or plastics, whichever it is, they are gonna have wire through them, okay? So I'm gonna cut that, and I just, see how I just kind of inserted that in there. so again, I'm gonna cut this one. I'm gonna put this one on the other side. Okay, so again, it's easier if you kind of wiggle back and forth like that, and then it can snap it off for you. Okay, and then this one I'm also going to insert on the other side, and I got that in there pretty good. Okay, and then I just took it and I kind of wove it through there. So there we go, there's that one there. And so the next one that I want to use is I kind of want to use this right here. And so this one here, I don't want a big clump of this. I just want to accent it with this. So this is where it's got multiple branches, and I'm going to come through and I'm just going to clip those off. And I'm thinking I want 4 of them. 2, 3, 4. And so I'll save this for another project. And before I put these all in, kind of what I do sometimes is I'll cut all my pieces, and then I'll kind of figure out how I want that to layer and look. So again, I'm going to take this one and I'm going to spread it out, and then I'm going to cut off 4 of the branches, and I'm cutting them off as long as I can. You can always cut them shorter, but remember, you can't put the stem back on once you cut it off. So I like that textural element there. And then I want this one as well. So again, I'm just going to cut off. Right now I'm going to start with 4 so that I have 2 on each side, but then I have enough left that I could add a little to the bottom too. Okay, and then I have these yellow ones here, and I think I actually, on this one, I want to use the whole branch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of stack these up. It's almost like when you make a regular wreath and you stack them up and you make your little bundles. Okay, so I've got my little bundle here, and I think I want 2 on each side. So I'm taking the different elements here. This one's a little finer. Okay, so I've made myself a little bundle. I really like how that looks. And what I can do is I can take some of my wire, okay, and I like to use wire versus floral tape because I think you can pull it a little bit tighter. Okay, so I'm gonna take a little bit of my paddle wire, and then I'm going to take this and wrap my stem together like this. Okay, so now I've got this nice little bundle right here, and I'm gonna put this bundle like right up here like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna make the other one, and I'm going to do it on the other side and make a bundle just like it. Okay, so here we go. And then I've got one of these, and they don't have to be exactly the same, but I kind of want them to be pretty similar. Okay, so there we go. There's my next bundle. And again, I am gonna cut these stems so that they're all the same length, because that might make it easier for me to bundle them. I thought I could cut them all at the same time. No, not happening. I need to cut one at a time. And again, I'm gonna get a little bit of my floral wire here. I'm gonna cut a piece off, and then I'm going to wrap these all together. So I'm gonna start at the top, hold that wire with my thumb, and then I'm going to wrap it nice and tight all the way down the stems, okay? All right, so now I've got my 2 bundles here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert one bundle right here, and what I wanna do is I'm actually going to shove it in, but I'm actually gonna add some glue as well to support that. And I don't wanna use that one. I ended up getting moss all over it, so let me put another one in here. Okay. So I'm gonna put that in there, and so I've kind of overlapped it. Here we go. Let me get some underneath, okay? And I think it might be better too if maybe I put it right here, like this, okay? And then I'm gonna put this one here. I'm gonna leave a gap right there because I am gonna put a bow on this. And I do wanna kind of shove it down in there so it'll be a little more supported. And then again, I'm gonna add glue to the top. And you're like, you can see that glue, but you won't when I'm done. Okay, so there we go. All right, so now I've got it so that it's like this, and I've got some here, and I've got some here. I've got this going on here. I've got this little piece here. Okay, so now I've got this yellow one here, and kind of what I want to do with this is I have to kind of look at it and go, do I want that much in there? And I don't know if I love that in there or not. I think I'm going to save this. And sometimes you get pieces and you're not sure if you want to use them. I actually like what this looks like right here. And then I do have some of this extra one left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make a little baby bundle with the stuff that I had left. See, I have 2 of these here. And I'm actually going to pull that one off. So I have this little baby bundle here. See, and I'm gonna put that little baby bundle right there. So again, I'm gonna wire that together. And you know what? I have one of these too, so I'm gonna add that as well. Okay, so I'm gonna add all three. So I have the same 3 textural pieces that I do up here. I'm gonna put that down here. And again, I'm gonna wire them together because it's easier, I think, to put them into the wreath if they're wired together than it is to try and stick each individual piece in there. And then it holds them together as well. Okay, and then I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna shove it. Well, actually, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna put some glue on the back. I'm gonna glue it all over. Okay, I'm gonna glue it and then I'm gonna shove it down in there like this. And then I'm gonna throw some glue on top. And the reason I'm doing that is just to help reinforce it. Now I'm gonna have a flower there or something. Okay, so there we go. So now this is kind of my base, and then the last thing I wanna add is I do wanna add some of this beautiful Spanish moss as well. And so what I'm gonna do with this is I'm actually gonna put the glue right on this Spanish moss. Ooh. And try not to get it on my fingers because it's hot, okay? And then I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put this right here like this, okay? So I kind of make like a little bitty nest there. And then I wanna embellish a little bit in other places as well with the moss. And so maybe I want a little bit like right here. Yep, I like that. So I'm gonna put a little bit right there. And I'm just gonna glue that. All right. And I'm gonna add that piece right here. Okay, so I do like that. All right, and so for now, I'm gonna kind of leave it like that. I'm gonna stand it up and just pull any stragglers that are falling off. Okay, there we go, tuck that in there. Okay, pull any of the glue strings. Okay, so there we go. So there is my base so far. Okay, now this is now my base for any spring direction that I want to go in. So now that I've got this done, and let me kind of clear this off here. Now I can kind of decide what do I want to do with this wreath and what direction do I want to go in. So if I want to make this into a Valentine wreath, it might be that, you know what, I can glue a little gnome on here and he could sit right here along the edge and I can either wire him in or glue him in, and then I could add red flowers. So I could certainly add some red flowers to this by adding maybe some flowers there. I could take some of these smaller ones and cut them down and maybe add a sprig there and a sprig over here, and then use my little gnome as my Valentine piece, and this could be a Valentine wreath. The other thing is maybe, you know, I can glue a little heart in here as well if I didn't want to use the gnome, or I could do the gnome and the heart together, and they could be just kind of together, and I could make a Valentine wreath. And then what I would do is I would probably just put a dab of glue on here and put it on here, but glue from the glue gun is really easy. You can get it off really super easy. So then when it's time to switch the wreath out, I can switch it out and I can take these pieces off, I can save them, use them again next year or use them in something else. And if I wanted to turn this into an Easter one, then maybe I would, you know, or maybe I'm gonna do a spring one, and I would pick the bow that I could use in both of the arrangements. So I have this nice pretty polka dot bow here, and so what I can do is I can tie this bow on, and I'm actually gonna have to add a wire to this because I only have one string. Oh no, there it is, I see it, there it is. Okay, I thought there was only one. So I had one of the girls downstairs make a bow, so I can add the bow right here, and I'm just gonna twist that on the back. And this is actually just some ribbon that we had downstairs, okay? And I can make my tails a little bit smaller if I want. So I'm actually gonna come in here. Well, maybe not, these aren't good scissors for cutting ribbon. So we're gonna leave it just the way it is. Okay, so I'm gonna add this bow and I'm gonna fluff it. Okay, now for spring, I can decide what color I wanna do. So for me, spring is certainly forsythia. So I like the forsythia shrub that I got here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut off some of these stems again. And it really is about what you like. It's so easy to do these that you can just buy one grapevine wreath and then just keep changing it over and over and over again. Because sometimes you don't even have to glue these in. Sometimes you can thread them right into your wreath like this and then just work them up into the branches that are there. See, I don't even have to glue that in. It's in place and I don't have to worry about it falling out. So I've got that little bitty piece here, and then I can take another little piece and tie that in at the bottom. So again, I'm gonna cut off a little piece here, see, and then I can just thread that right in there. And then I've got that little bitty sprig right there at the bottom. Okay, and then I can add some purple. And so when I think spring, I also think pansies. I think pansies are a spring flower. And again, you can really make one sprig go a super long way. So again, I'm gonna cut this down and I'm gonna get 3 different pieces off of it. And so I've got my little wire cutters here. And then again, this is just the piece that's garbage. And I'm gonna insert this as well. And I'm gonna back it up just a little bit, okay? So I can either put it up here like this, or I can bring it down here like this. So I can cover the whole wreath and have those pansies in there like this, or I can bring it up here and kind of tuck it in to the greens that were already there. And I actually think I like it up at the top. So I'm gonna actually tuck the other one in over here. And then this one, I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller, and I'm gonna get this one and just the single flower. And so I don't have to waste the foliage either. For this little piece here, I can add this in right down here. Just glue that right in, tuck it in. Okay, so that gives me a little bit different piece. And then I can take this piece here, cut it really super thin. And again, let me put another glue stick on here. So I'm on my 3rd glue stick. Okay, I can add glue to this here. And then I can tuck him right on top and just kind of hold him in place. And then I can tuck this guy. And because the stem is shorter, I am gonna glue him. Okay, and then I can tuck this one more like that. So it kind of travels up like that. Okay, now, when I see something like this where it's sticking out like that, I'm going, I don't really like that. One of the things that you can do is you can get a piece of wire from your paddle wire, okay? And you can just take this and thread it through here like this, and then just wire it down so that it's not sticking up. It also will help so it's not flopping on you. And then I just twist it on the back like a bread tie, and then I'm gonna trim it so it's shorter, throw the extra wire in the garbage, and then I'm just gonna tuck that in, okay? So there that is, okay? And then I'm gonna fluff my bow. So here is my pretty spring wreath. I think it turned out pretty good. I really like it. Now, I can turn around and turn this into an Easter wreath as well. Now, if I wanted to, I could add some pinks to this, or I could just leave it purple and yellow, and I can add a little chick to it. So I got these little chicks and these eggs, and what I would do is I would glue that little guy in like right here so that he is kind of sitting up like right there, or you could glue him in over here. I kind of like them nested in like right here, and I would glue them in. And then I can take 3 eggs and I can glue the eggs in someplace, and I'd probably nest them together and glue the eggs in. So I could certainly turn this into an Easter wreath as well. Now I'm gonna actually add this little plaque to mine. It says, "Life is beautiful," and it's just a little wood plaque. It's got a little hanger on it, so what I'm going to do is just pull off the wire on here, or the, whatever that is, the string, and I'm gonna pull that off, and then I'm gonna actually glue this in to my wreath right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually gonna turn this around so I can visually look at it this way, and then kind of where do I want this? I actually think I want it over here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glue the back. And this will pop right off. That's the nice thing about a glue gun, is that glue will pop off. Okay, and then I'm gonna nest that right down in there, and I'm just gonna hold it for a minute and let that set. Now, the other thing you can do is if you don't have an over-the-door hook that you can put this on, you can make a holder for it, or a wire holder for it out of your paddle wire, okay? Okay, so he's not stuck. I think I need more glue. More glue. I'm like, did it turn off? Nope, there it goes. Okay, so I need more glue to make this work right here. I'm probably gonna take a whole glue stick to get this bad boy on there. Okay, so then I'm gonna turn this, and then I'm gonna probably put a little more weight on it when I'm doing this. Woo! That had some glue on it, got on my hand. It's a little warm. Okay. I love making wreaths. I like making them out of artificials. I like making them out of real stuff that will dry naturally. I have this beautiful fall one that I made that just dried so prettily. And this one here, I probably will put it up now as this spring wreath, and as we get closer to Easter, because Easter's not until April, I probably will, check it out, I will probably take this off and add the bird and the eggs, so I have an Easter wreath. Isn't that great? I'm gonna actually tilt the camera up a little bit here so I can stand this up. Isn't that gorgeous? I just think this turned out so nice. So this is my wreath, and if I wanted to, I could pull a big long length of paddle wire out of here, weave it through the top of the grapevine wreath, and then just make a loop and twist it on there so that you've got a hanger that you could use. And I actually think I want to make my tails a little bit shorter, and I will trim those up once I get a pair of scissors that will actually cut the ribbon. But then I'm going to take this and hang this on my front door. My winter wreath still looks good, but I think I want to, since I'm doing the whole inside and I'm putting my Easter stuff out and some of my spring stuff out, I think I want to embellish this one as well and hang this on the door. You could certainly hang it inside too. So that is my wreath. Let me get back down here. So I hope this inspired you, and you know, if you've got stuff laying around the house, you can certainly make a wreath, or you can just pick up a grapevine wreath and pick up some stuff that you love and just add it to this. You can actually glue it on with a glue gun, or if you want to, you can wire it on with the paddle wire. I've done that as well. And just, I think the more you mess with it, the more you like it. I like the little bits of moss sticking out. I like the little bits of flowers all throughout, and I like the bow that we picked out. So I don't know, I think it turned out pretty good. I'm gonna take it home and hang it on the door. So I'm Michelle with the Landscape Connection. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye, have a good day. I'm gonna turn the camera off now. Here we go. See you later.